Hey everybody, hope everybody had a great day today. So the other day I did a video on pre-tripping your APU. Well, today I'm going to do a service on my APU, and I thought I'd show you how simple it is to service your APU and do an oil change. Alright, so I purchased this oil filter kit from thermobyproducts.com. It's a great place to buy everything you need for your APU service, and it's a lot cheaper than going through Thermo King. Thermo King is going to probably charge you $100 for this kit. This kit was $41. I will say this, their shipping cost is pretty expensive. To ship it was $21. So I actually purchased two kits because the shipping costs don't change. So I'll show you, it comes with everything you need: your fuel filter, your oil filter, your filter for in the cab, and your air filter. So I've already taken the top cap and the bottom part of the cover of the APU off. I want to remind everybody, the first thing you need to do is kill the main power to your APU, which I've already done. Once again, the first thing you do is kill the main power to your APU. Okay, for mine, you need a 3/4 inch wrench to loosen the drain plug, which is right here. So you just get in here like this and loosen the drain plug, and pretty soon the the oil is just going to come pouring out. As you can see it already on my hands, and there it goes. And just like every drain plug, you just want to look at it and see if there's any metal shavings or anything on this drain plug, and it doesn't look like this has any shavings on it. This drain plug's actually super clean. So yeah, we'll just let it sit here and drain for a while. So the next thing you're going to do is, this is your oil filter right here, and it shouldn't be super tight that you're not able to turn it. So you get in here like so, and you start turning it. And you are going to get some oil that comes out of this just because of the direction that it's at. Boom. Just like that, the oil filter's out. And we'll just let it drain in here. One thing you want to look at is you want to make sure that there is a gasket on this oil filter. You want to make sure you get that gasket off when you take the oil filter off. Okay, I just get in here and clean the surface a little bit, just with a shop rag. Clean it up. And there, that's good. Next thing you're going to have to get off is this fuel filter, which is right here. This is your fuel filter. And same thing as your oil filter. You're just going to screw it off. Now you are going to get some fuel that seeps out of this as well. So just be ready once it comes to get it into your drain pan. So I'm going to put on this oil filter now. Now you don't have to prime this oil filter, but what you should do is, with the new oil that you have, get some on your fingertip and put it around this gasket right here. Just get a good, so it has a good lubrication on it. Then you bring it in here. And this doesn't have to be super tight. What I like to do is get it on there, make sure it's not cross-threaded. Get it tight with my hand. So then I get it hand tight like this, and I go about another quarter turn, which is right about there, and it's nice and tight. That way you'll be able to take it off by hand the next time you service this. All right, so now I'm gonna prime this fuel filter. And how you want to prime these fuel filters is fill them in this little hole. Don't just pour it in this big hole, because the filter, you would be basically bypassing the filter doing that. So fill these little holes with fuel, and then you're going to put it back on. You just want to prime this filter. So you make sure you get the filter in place, kind of screw it on by hand. Okay, so I get that very hand tight. And then the next step I do is I'm just gonna do it 1/4 turn to make sure it's on there tight. Right like that. Okay, it's time to put our plug back in, and make sure that you just kind of clean the plug off before you throw it on. Okay, so you get the plug back in, and I go hand tight, because remember, the bottom of this oil pan is aluminum, so you don't want to like ratchet on it, because you'll crack the aluminum and break the aluminum. So I get it hand tight, and then the next thing I get is my 3/4 wrench again. And I get it on, and I just snug it up. Like I don't really put a lot of force into that and a lot of torque. Like I said, this is an aluminum pan, and you know what? After you're done doing this and you start it and run it and check for leaks, if you need to tighten it, you can go back under here and tighten it. So now we're gonna fill it with oil. Now, some of these Tripacks have 2 reservoirs for oil, one on top and one on bottom. Make sure you always fill this one that's on bottom. All right, I'm gonna fill this with 10W30 full synthetic Rotella oil. So I've added about 1.5 gallons of oil, and I'm checking my dipstick, and it's looking like it's almost to the full line, which is perfect. I'm going to fill it a little bit more to get it above the fill line to fill the filter, because if you remember, you don't prime this filter. So another thing that I add to all my PMs on the truck and my APU is this Fuel-Ox friction eliminator, and you add 2 ounces of this friction eliminator for every quart of oil you added to whether it's your APU or truck. Now, the first time you use this product, you want to overdose. You want to double the dosage of whether it's your truck or your APU. And I've already done that, so I'm going to add 1 10-ounce bottle of friction eliminator to my oil reservoir. And what this stuff does is it helps to wear the metal wear in all combustion motors. So I highly recommend using the friction eliminator, and check out the fuelox.com and use promo code DIY Semi, and you'll save 15% at checkout. So the last thing I'm going to do is replace this air filter, which is right here, and there's 2 clips. There's one on top and one down at the bottom. So there's the first clip, there's the second clip, and you just work this off like so. Get it out. Now look how dirty that one is. Push it on. All right, then you clamp the cover back down. This bottom one's tough to get to, but use both hands, get it in place, and it snaps right in. Same with the top one here. Get it in place, snap it down. There, that's on there nice and tight. So the last thing I do is I use CRC brake cleaner, because it's non-flammable, just to clean up all the oil that might have fallen when I took off the oil filter and the fuel filter. I just go in here and I spray this, and it dries everything up. And I go in there and spray it. And then I clean up the mess. All right, the reason I spray this with brake clean and clean it all up is that way, once I fire this back up, I'll be able to tell if anything's leaking. If my fuel filter's leaking, my oil filter, I can tell if there's any new leaks that weren't here before. Now, before I put the cover back on, I'm gonna start this up. Now, it might take a minute to fire back up. What I do is I go inside, turn my AC on super low, and wait for the motor to kick in. If it doesn't kick in right away, shut it off, because then you'll get a fault code and you'll have to go in and reset everything. But yeah, that's doing a PM service on your APU. So let's talk about the cost of doing this PM service oil change on a Thermo King Tripac APU. The filter kit cost me $41. I got the oil for $20 a gallon. I used 1.5 gallons of oil, so that was $30. If you take 30 plus $41, that gives you a total of $71. Now let's add $10 for shipping, because if you remember, I ordered 2 kits. The shipping was $21, so let's add $10. So that was $81 spent to do this PM service on my APU, and hopefully it keeps running by continuing to do these service increments when they call for it. So if you haven't already, hit the thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. I hope this video was informational, and until next time, you know what it is. Keep on trucking.